Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Jessica Blum here in the 1011 streaming studio on behalf of the 1011 Severe Weather Center, giving you the updates. Here as of this morning, we've seen our first winter storm really take aim on Nebraska overnight and so far this morning. As I look outside at what windows I have off to my right, certainly the snow is coming down. On my way in, the roads weren't terrible. The snow adding some traction, but what roads were highly traveled and that snow had kind of been wiped off, they were pretty slick out there. But I'm joining you here this morning to give you the latest on the forecast, kind of what we know so far, talk about snow totals, or at least amounts so far that we've seen come in for the National Weather Service, kind of the reasoning behind our weather alert day today, and what you can expect through the rest of your morning into the afternoon hours. I know some people are certainly, emergency or necessary workers that need to get out here this morning or into this afternoon later. So we're going to be looking at some of that here momentarily. I'm going to make sure that this is ready to go and then bring on my graphics over here in a second. There we go. There's the latest winter weather alerts that we have in place across the state. I know portions of central Nebraska were updated as of this morning to instead run through 3 o'clock this afternoon instead of expiring at noon. That's largely because of blowing snow that will become an issue once this snow kind of clears us to the east as the system continues to pull to the east. But winter storm warnings are still in place through midnight tonight, Sunday morning, for northeast Nebraska, Douglas, Sarpy County, including Omaha is included in that. Lincoln is a part of the winter weather advisory in southeast Nebraska that will also be in effect until midnight tonight. We did have freezing rain for a time last night, so there is a layer of that kind of underneath the snow if you're looking to dig your car out. I know I really had to put the elbow grease into the ice scraper here this morning to kind of get my car dug out to come into work. So that's where kind of the ice is. I'm not expecting any more freezing rain. It's just going to be snow from here on out until this precipitation kind of comes to an end. So we're going to look at the radar here in a second, but kind of some of the reasoning behind our weather alert day today for Saturday is some of the cold temperatures coming in on the backside of this system, the wind and blowing snow. We've seen the wintry mix already transition to snow at this point as the snow is coming down at a pretty good rate. But then those wind gusts later this afternoon coming up around maybe 40, 45 miles an hour in spots. And then just the travel impacts that we're seeing out of this first winter storm. Just kind of a good reminder for people what driving can be like at this time of the year. Once we see winter weather, take things slow, increase your following distance. I've already heard some reports from Lancaster County Sheriff's Office in emergency responders this morning of semis jackknifing and car accidents because of some of the conditions even overnight into this morning. But now we have some snow coming down, and I'm really hoping that does add for some traction as we go through the day today if you do need to travel. I will say this isn't one of the worst storms we've seen. Travel again around town wasn't all that bad. I will have an update from the city on their winter operations. They just gave us an update a little less than a half hour ago, so I'll share some of that. But current road conditions across the state look like this. You can see much of central eastern Nebraska in that pink color, meaning that roads are completely covered at this point. Travel... you don't see any purple areas under any of these roads across Nebraska, so things are pretty good to travel. Just taking the time with you, making sure your car's good and dug out and cleared off too, so you're not driving on the road and creating a hazard for people behind you. But at this point, early in the 10 o'clock hour, again, most of those roads are completely covered. I have seen crews out here in Lincoln, and I would imagine there's a good number across the state that are currently working on some of those roads to clear them for travel throughout the day today as snow continues to come down. It is a winter wonderland out there so far as we're taking a look at our Lincoln Skyview Buffalo roofing camera. Certainly, snow coming down at a pretty good rate. The visibility is down in the capital city. We're going to go look at other areas across Nebraska. This is what the Kiewit Luminarium Skyview camera looks like up in Omaha. Kind of a freezing view through some of those droplets that have frozen on the camera lens. There you can see the snow blanketing the ground as well across much of Nebraska. I think we've kind of been iced over at the Beaver Crossing Skyview camera at this point. You can kind of make out some of the terrain in the distance, but barely, really, as the snow continues to come down. This is a view in York. Some sunshine is trying to poke out for areas out west. We'll kind of look at satellite and radar here lately too, but Hastings starting to see some sunshine after the snow has come down. Again, some of these areas were on the edge of some of the worst snow, so I think they're kind of wrapping up some of their snow at this point. O'Neill had seen some sunshine, but it looks like the snow is now falling once again early in this 10 o'clock hour. North Platte had seen some sunshine too, but now clouding up again out that way. So bringing it back home here to Lincoln, we do have temperatures in the 20s at this point. We did see temperatures rise overnight to about 29 degrees. At no point have we been above freezing over the last 24 hours or so. And you'll notice the winds are out of the north and northwest now on the backside of the system. It feels like just 12 degrees. So if you do need to dig out that car or go outside or travel today, make sure blankets are with you. Make sure you are layering up because it is cold with the wind and that wind chill. Any exposed skin certainly at risk for frostbite, if not hypothermia after a longer period of time. Dew point is at 23 degrees, visibility under a mile here in the capital city. As we look at temperatures across the state, we've got teens and 20s. Mostly cold and colder in the Sandhills and in the Panhandle, where temperatures are in the middle teens in Alliance, Scottsbluff, and Chadron. Again, we're at 25 in Lincoln, York, Columbus, Tacoma, Kearney, all matching that temperature at this point, and the winds are starting to come up, especially for those further west. So these winds are going to travel east during the later portions of the morning and this afternoon. So we'll see those winds come up even more so than where they're at here in Lincoln. As you can see, out past Broken Bow, Kearney toward Lexington, North Platte, we're looking at sustained winds around 25 to almost 35 miles an hour. Those wind gusts are much higher than that, almost approaching 50 miles an hour in southwest Nebraska. So again, this is all going to pull to the east. So we'll see those wind gusts as the snow's kind of coming to an end, start to pick up. So blowing snow, reduced visibility still could be an issue, I think, much through the afternoon. That's why those winter alerts really continue for much of today, tonight, through midnight for far eastern Nebraska, because we're not expecting those winds to come down for quite some time. It is 0 for what it feels like in Thedford. -6 right now in Alliance. Bitterly cold out there, really across the state on this Saturday past Thanksgiving. I know it's a good day to probably stay inside, start maybe decorating for Christmas inside if you haven't. I think I'm looking forward to doing that later myself and just kind of bundle up. Hopefully you got to the store and got what you needed beforehand today. There's a look at the snow. It's actually clearing pretty far east with time as we look over the past 4 hours or so. 3 hours, excuse me. This is the last 3 hours. And you're looking at pretty good snowfall rates here in Lincoln, still up toward Omaha. But the line of clearing for that snow, as we just looked at York with some sunshine, continues to push east. So as this system continues to move east, I'm not expecting a whole lot of wraparound snow for southeastern Nebraska. It'll mainly be up in northeast Nebraska, I think, this afternoon. And we're not talking about heavy snowfall rates by any means. The rain snow line has pushed almost completely into Kansas and Missouri. Fall City may be still seeing a mixed bag of precipitation like we had seen early this morning. I know I woke up to some ice hitting my my window early today in the 4 and 5 o'clock hour. But we'll come back to this view and kind of talk more about satellite and radar here in a second. I go back to our full snowfall forecast for this event. And again, most of the snow is expected to fall on the Iowa side of things in case you've missed it. Still thinking up around 3-4 inches maybe here in Lincoln. We'll talk about how much is expected past 9-10 o'clock this morning for eastern Nebraska as that snow continues. But then snowfall amounts are expected to drop off through southwest Nebraska. So with time here this morning, you see the snow placement. This is one of our short-range models doing pretty well with that placement of the snow in far eastern Nebraska. Continuing east, we may see the snow kind of start to wrap up as soon as noon today here in Lincoln. And then still toward the Missouri River, snow coming down. But you'll see what I mean by some lingering snow showers in northeast Nebraska this afternoon. But at this point, this is when the winds are starting to come up as well. Excuse me. Clearing to the east. Iowa's still going to see some snow throughout the day today. And then some partial clearing, I think, into tonight for areas of southeast, southern, and western Nebraska. So future snowfall past about 11 a.m. this morning. we're not looking at much. Maybe up to around a half inch, inch and a half to 2 inches, and most of that up around Omaha and to the north toward Tekamah and Wayne through this afternoon. So we have seen, I think, a bulk of our snow at this point in the morning, past 10 a.m., but it does continue to snow at a pretty good rate. I'm seeing a lot of bigger flakes out there right now here in Lincoln, at least around 40th and Vine. I came from southeast portions of Lincoln. I think we saw a bit more freezing rain last night than other portions of town. So I am expecting snowfall reports to kind of vary. That'll be important for you to send us your pictures, your snowfall reports. If you can go outside with a measuring stick with how you're measuring and send us that photo, that's what we'd love to see on our latest forecast update on our website, 1011now.com. There is a little link for you to send in your photos so that we can share them on air and share them on social media. So we would really look forward to that. But here's what other models are saying over the next 24 hours. You can see we're just about wrapped up. We're not expecting to see a whole lot. Most of these models are less than an inch at this point, really through the rest of this morning and into the early afternoon hours for Lincoln. And then what's important to talk about past the snow coming to an end is how cold it's going to be through the rest of this weekend into early next week. And then the wind's also coming up just this afternoon and into this evening. So temperatures around 1 o'clock today. I mean, rising just a little bit, not by much, but the winds are coming up. So it's actually going to feel worse, I think, as we head into the afternoon hours. Around 3 o'clock, temperatures are not budging much. This evening, we've got teens to around 20 degrees, and that should do it for Saturday. And then into Sunday, tomorrow morning, it does look very, very cold. This is not factoring in the wind. The wind will come down tonight into tomorrow, but we're looking at wind chills likely around 0, if not below 0. In fact, we're going to go through the future feels like temperatures here through this afternoon and into tomorrow morning. If you got errands to run today, if you have to be out, again, it's going to be cold. Bundle up. We're talking about some of our coldest air of the season lasting for quite a while tonight, through the day on Sunday, and even into early Monday with another snow chance on Monday that a lot of us haven't even had quite an opportunity to forecast and look at just yet because of this system here earlier this weekend. But as you look into Sunday morning, going to church, trying to get up and get around tomorrow, trying to shovel if you don't do it today, things like that, it's going to be freezing. We're looking at temperatures well below freezing, well below the double digits. We're looking at the single digits above and below 0, likely below 0 in and around central and portions of western Nebraska. And again, that snow on the ground certainly helps to keep things colder too at this time of the year until we can work to get some sunshine and try to chip away at melting that, what we see here in eastern Nebraska. But then again, the winds are coming up as the snow kind of pushes out of here. Wind gusts up around 40, 45 miles an hour, especially in central areas of the state, are not out of the question. I think here in Lincoln, we could see a few wind gusts up to around 40 miles an hour. I think it'll mostly be in the ballpark of 30 to 40 by this afternoon through the worst of it, before those winds will relax as we go into tonight. So that's kind of what I had for forecasting graphics here this morning. I told you I was going to give you an update on some snowfall totals as well as the Lincoln City update. So let me work to get that up to show you guys. And you'll just read it with me, I think. Yeah, let's just do this. So here are the latest winter operations update for Saturday, November 29th as of 9:35. Crews are continuing to plow arterial streets while snowfall tapers off over the next several hours, again, as we mentioned, into the early afternoon hours. We are still under a winter weather advisory until midnight tonight. Wind gusts could be up around 40 to 45 miles per hour. I think closer to 40 miles an hour with what models are saying this morning in Lincoln. Streets are partially to completely covered in snow. Drivers should be alert for slick spots, winter driving conditions, kind of expect that. And then we'll get another update around 2 o'clock this afternoon. So that might be, again, when we do another stream to give you updates on where things are currently at. But this is another good way to show you snowfall totals from what we've seen so far this morning. Again, snow continues to fall, so this is by no means a final update for the event totals, but just to kind of give you an idea of where we've been overnight and so far this morning. We do have a 4-inch report coming in as of 9 a.m., 2 miles west of Bennington, up around the Omaha Metro. Don't have a lot of snowfall reports so far in and around Lincoln, so this is where you come in. If you want to email us, but especially we've got a link on our website, especially under our latest forecast article, that you can send in pictures of the snow, what you're seeing, and any amounts as things are coming in. I wouldn't blame you if you want to wait to send us some amounts until things are done. If you can send us multiple, that would be great. But the latest snowfall report I have closest to Lincoln is up toward Waverly, officially 5 miles southwest of Waverly at 2 inches. And that was before 8 o'clock this morning. So on the northeast side of town. Then we travel up toward Ashland. You see a 2.5-inch report. That was as of 7:50. On top of a thin layer of ice. I think the ice, and this is why we were expecting so much change, I think, over southeast Nebraska. It certainly was that freezing rain for a time that was cutting into potential snowfall amounts. It could have been much higher if we saw a lot more snow, and that's why I'm expecting northeast Nebraska to see the highest snowfall totals, and especially into Iowa, because it's just been snow for a while through some of those areas. But Valley, up around almost 3 inches of snow as of 6 o'clock this morning. That might be a snowfall measurement from the National Weather Service because they're based out of Valley. And we almost have a 3-inch report up toward Council Bluffs. So as I zoom out, I'm interested to also see the Iowa reports because, again, they were supposed to see a lot of snow. Ooh, we do have several 10-inch reports, 11-inch reports. Stratford, 11 inches. Alden, 10 inches. Toward Waterloo, 10 inches. Janesville. So just north of Ames and kind of between Ames and Cedar Rapids, kind of some of the heaviest snow. Looks like within Des Moines so far, 2 to 4 inches. And they're not done with the snow just yet. In fact, let me go back to satellite and radar and show you how much snow is still falling across the area. Again, eastern Nebraska seeing a lot of it. But then Iowa continues to snow. This will be a while before Iowa sees the snow wrap up. And then again, that snow rain line is pushing well into Kansas and Missouri. So it's snow for not only Iowa, but several states under winter weather alerts here this morning. I know as a meteorologist Bill Rentschler was talking about it last night. I think it was Montana through almost Indiana had winter storm warnings with winter weather advisories surrounding that winter storm warning. And it's the winter storm warning that we usually are expecting the heavier amounts of snow, impacts to travel to be worse and more difficult. In fact, let me go to the winter alerts right now, and this is what's in effect. I'll give you a brief refresher on what's in effect for Nebraska with some of those labels there. Again, Lincoln in a winter weather advisory through midnight tonight. Snow will come to an end sometime this afternoon, if not closer to noon. But then we could see areas of blowing snow, reducing visibility. So travel will still be somewhat difficult into the evening hours tonight. But here is a look at the overall picture. So Montana's been cleared, but South Dakota, most of Iowa, good portion of Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio under a winter storm warning at this point through a good portion of the weekend. So travel east at any point today, tomorrow, going to be quite difficult, especially going through Iowa, Illinois. If you don't have to, I would really make adjustments to travel plans because of all this. So again, there's the latest winter weather alerts across the state here this morning. And as I look at everything, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about this morning. I think, again, going into this afternoon, As things are winding down, we get another update from the city on winter operations and how they're handling things here in Lincoln. We can totally give you another update and kind of hop on again to give you that. I know a lot of people are curious about road conditions too, so I'll pop up that map and here it'll load here in a second. Currently not showing anything, but it just takes a second. There you go. Populating those roads in. This is as of the 511 map. Pink means completely covered roads, and really Lincoln and much of southeast Nebraska, much of eastern Nebraska, into central Nebraska, all showing that at this point. So we're really seeing our first winter storm of the season impacting road conditions following Black Friday, early portions of this weekend, travel after the holiday. And if you don't need to be out, I don't think it's a necessity. If you do have to go out, just keep in mind winter driving conditions, taking more time with you in patience, and allowing for more travel distance between you and cars ahead of you. I might see, too, if it looks any different on the 511 map, because there are some new additions if I show it to you. Take off some of these layers. Okay, it is still okay. This is what I want to show you. So we go back to the 511 map. Roads in and around Lincoln are completely covered. At this point, it's registering snow, but an interesting kind of new feature to the 511 maps is you see some of these lines are dotted now. And that actually gives you an indication as I pull up the legend. Dotted lines, pink and blue, are partially or completely covered roads with ice. So you can get kind of an idea of what roads may still be covered with ice. And I believe it's plows on the roads really giving these updates. I can pull up the plow tracker. You can see how many crews are out there working hard to clear and make some of these roads safer to travel on. But it's very interesting to have that feature now because there were a lot more dotted lines across the roads in southeast Nebraska, but because of that transition of snow we've seen so far this morning, most of these roads now in and around Lincoln are completely covered and really with snow, so that does help with some of the traction for those needing to travel. But up toward Omaha, Fremont really, Hupper, Scribner, you're looking at some dotted lines. So there's still some icy roads up that way. I would imagine, too, any elevated roads like bridges and expressways or anything like that that have the ability to have some cold air running underneath them, they could stay icy for a little bit longer, too, if they're not treated. So keep that in mind with travel throughout the day today. But that's really what I wanted to join you for with some updates with the weather, the forecast, talking about road conditions, what we're expecting through the rest of the day today. And we'll hop back on, I think, this afternoon to give you the latest, too, as kind of some of these... This system really pushes out, but the winds start to come up later today, still impacting much of the area with blowing snow and reduced... Excuse me. Blowing snow and reduced visibility well into this evening as well.